What is up, CineNerds? We got a doozy for you today. I'm Ryan Newhouse.
And I'm JP Cross.
Sweet. I hope you guys are all doing wonderful things tonight. But before we get into this little review here, CineNerdsPodcast.com, you know the drill. Like, follow, share, all the fun. And what's JP? What's your request to people lately? What is it?
Yeah, I want you to go find one of your friends and I want you to go tell them about this show. Go recommend this to them. Go tell them face to face. Say, hey, have you heard about this podcast? CineNerds. Show them like the YouTube or the Apple podcast or the Spotify or the Amazon, whatever you're listening to or watching this on. Show it to them. Say, hey, give them a follow. Check them out. Go find one friend.
Absolutely. And all of us that are have been listening for the majority of all of our episodes and listen currently and hopefully in the future, we all love movies. We all are fans of movies, and I know most people are out there. So if you got a friend who likes movies or specific movies more along the lines of what we're reviewing, feel free, man. Share those, get those out there, let people know what we're doing.
So today, Ryan had me watch a film called Send Help. Sam Raimi's film, Send Help.
Yep. And this is the first horror film he's done since he did Drag Me to Hell. So he
2009.
Yeah, so it's been some time since he did a horror film, and he decided to jump back in. And let me tell you, Mr. Raimi, you were missed. This was I enjoyed this. I thought it was great. It was not original by any means, but it was great.
Yeah. And the thing is, I don't remember actually watching a trailer for this. And I remember after this came out, um, it was Rick from the Whole Damn Enchilada podcast said that I believe he actually said that this is like one of his favorite movies so far this year whenever it came out. Now, if that opinion stands now, I don't know. But when this originally came out, he was really raving about this film and how much he really liked this film. And I'll be honest with you, I knew nothing about it. I don't remember watching the trailers, nothing. And so when I watched this, I was a little surprised that I knew nothing about this film because of the cast. Like you have what's her name from Mean Girls? Rachel McAdams. Yep, Rachel
Mhm.
McAdams. But more so, Dylan O'Brien was in this, and I tend to follow Dylan O'Brien because I love Teen Wolf. I love the Maze Runner movies, and there's been a lot of his movies like Love and Monsters and stuff that he's done. Like I've just kind of followed him every a lot of most pretty much everything he's done. Um, and I'm one of the few people that went and watched his film in the theater with was it the assassination movie or whatever it was called with him and Michael Keaton where he was like an FBI agent being trained. What's the name of that movie? I can't remember it now. Um,
Who cares? He was the voice of Bumblebee.
yes, he was that
I
too.
did I did not know that, and that one threw me off. So you know what's funny is Dylan O'Brien, I've known him from different movies and different shows for a minute, but
American Assassin. Sorry, I had to look it up. I knew it was
no
something
worries.
assassin.
I was trying to give you time. I knew what you're going for. But no, I am not a. I thought this dude was from the OC. For some reason, he reminds me of another actor from the OC. And my wife used to make me watch the OC, so I'm like, "Hey, it's your boy from the OC," and the wife's like, "No, it's not." And I was like, "Oh shit." But
It's Styles from Teen Wolf.
well, I didn't watch your Teen Wolf either, so yeah,
Teen Wolf was good. Now the movie that he did a couple of years ago for it was awful. Should have never been done. But the series was fantastic.
gotcha. Yeah, no, but in my opinion, I think Bumblebee is the best Transformers movie of all the Transformers movies, because the accuracy to the original Transformers that we'd see in the Gen 1 Transformers and the way they portray them in the beginning of the film and the way that it builds out. So finding out that he was the voice was spectacular.
Yeah, and I was surprised. Like I said, I follow Dylan O'Brien a lot with a lot of. If I see a movie that he's in, I usually watch it because of his track record with films that he's done and stuff that I just generally like him. And it's not that he's like a great actor. It's just I've found appreciation for a lot of the roles that he's took, and so I was surprised. I put this on, and all of a sudden Dylan O'Brien walks in, and I'm like, "Holy fuck! Why did I not know that this existed?"
Right?
so, so yeah, my initial impression, I guess, is this movie caught me off guard because I just knew nothing about it and what went
Dude,
to a blind.
that's awesome. Those are the best. The ones that catch you off guard are always fun. I enjoy them thoroughly. That's so good. Um, so Rachel McAdams, she always seems to throw a wrench in my spokes, because she's kind of like this plain Jane girl, and then you see her in a role, and you're like, God damn, she's hot. And and I am not gonna lie, I will own it. I will be a man about it. I bawled like a little bitch during The Notebook. It happened. It happened. I don't care. I was next to my wife. We watched Notebook. She had me watch a chick flick, and by the end of it, when they're laying in bed together, I'm like, whoa. But Rachel McAdams
I've
crushed that
never,
role,
I've never seen The Notebook.
dude. It's not a bad movie, but the love story, the way that it builds and goes to the end, oh my god. Anyways, it's one of those few ones that got me for sure. And the wife, it was so funny because she does not cry in movies, whereas me, I'm more emotional and sensitive, especially if it's involving a kid or a relationship. I might get a little something happening in my eye. It'll just like be a little water amount build up, something, some kind of moisture, and she will be the first to point that shit out and call me out for it. So she's like, what's going on, Ryan? You got something in your eye?" But anyways, Rachel McAdams always delivers. I think she is a solid actress. I really, really was impressed, especially with this role. Was not expecting this one to be as good. Now, unlike JP, I had seen the trailer. I did know the premise, but still was surprised by the intensity of this movie and the way that it went. This is another example of doing the most you can with less. Because you have two primary actors the bulk of this movie. You've got some on the front end, some on the back end, but more than anything, this movie leaves you feeling eerily uncomfortable. You don't At one point, I didn't know who I was rooting for. I didn't know if I was rooting for uh, the protagonist or the antagonist. I couldn't tell who was which at some points. So I enjoyed the hell out of that. And I think Sam Raimi did a lot of good with that. And I also like some of the owed respect to some of his past ventures that are in this movie, but we'll dig into that later. That's my initial impression.
So I'll just read a quick synopsis of this film. When an employee and her insufferable boss become stranded on a deserted island, they're the only survivors of a plane crash. They must overcome past grievances and work together to make it out alive. That is the quick synopsis. Now, to be a little more vocal about that, um, yes, they're trying to survive on this island.
Yes. Yes. That's
Yes,
all I say.
they are trying to survive on this island. However, Rachel McAdams' character is obsessed with Survivor, and she is like all for this. Dylan O'Brien's character knows nothing and is very reliant on her. He will not survive without her.
But that's the big picture too. That's
Yeah.
not just on the island, because in reality, so let's backtrack before we even get to the island, because there's a lot to unpack here. So you've got a major corporation. The dad has died, and the dad was running it before. And Linda, who is Rachel McAdams' character, she is like the nerd in the office who doesn't quite fit in with anyone. She's kind of treated like crap by her peers, her coworkers. None of them invite her to do things. None of them want to hang out with her, but she is the numbers guru. She knows all of her shit. She has it dialed in. She puts together all of the presentations, all the plans. Like she's got it locked in. She's really doing it. And the dad of the character of Bradley Preston, who's played by Dylan O'Brien, the dad passes away. And before he passes away, he's promised her a promotion. He wanted her to be the VP and he wanted her to do X, Y, and Z because he knew what she brought to the table. He knew that she had that in her. He passes though, and in comes Dylan O'Brien's character with the son Bradley Preston, and right off the rip, he's got this douchey friend of his who's working there who doesn't know anything, who's actually taking advantage of Linda. And this guy, he's already got him set up to be the new person. He's going to promote him to this VP position. So she's getting crapped on from multiple fronts. She realizes it. She knows it. She still bites her tongue. She goes home. She's got a pet bird. That's her extent of her fun and her friendship circle. And she's talking to this bird and like doing this whole thing. And she's watching Survivor. And like you start really kind of getting into her love of Survivor, but not really thinking about it at this point. Now, all of a sudden there's a meeting. Well, I don't know where's the meeting at. It was at Thailand or something like that.
Yes, in Thailand
Bangkok.
or
Some
Japan or China. It's
Yeah.
someplace in the Far East.
So Thailand is where they crash. But anyways, so he does not want to come to this meeting in this other country unprepared. So he's making her go with him on the company's private jet with these other people as well. So they're all on the jet. And that's when things start getting kind of eerie a little bit because these assholes, the mean girl crew, if you will, which Rachel McAdams was in. The Mean Girl crew, they all have found her Survivor audition tape and they're watching it and they're laughing at her expense and they're ridiculing her and making fun of her. And she realizes what's going on and she's crying to herself. She's kind of being quiet. She's flustered. She exits out of a program she's been working without saving because she's done. She doesn't want anything to do with this anymore. And that's when the turbulence starts happening. Things start going a little crazy and before you know it, this plane's going down. What happens though in this one moment is so rad to me. I don't know why I love this
Yeah.
part. This is why I kind of wanted to talk about this. So a hole rips in the side of the plane. The douchebag who's going to be getting her job, he starts to fly out, but he grabs her hand and he's like, "Help me, save me, help me!" And she's trying, she really is, but she's a little girl, she can't do much, and she she loses him. He starts to go out the door, but he gets caught by his tie. And so he's hanging by his tie, dying, hitting the side of the plane, looking at her, screaming outside of the plane, and things just start going crazy. But just that moment, that visual, the whole concept is happening, and she's screaming, and the plane's going down. I've got a genuine fear of heights and flying, so
Mhm.
this was a beautiful moment of horror for me, and it just got really good there.
That whole scene is so good.
Yeah, the way that the gravity flips and the people in the cabin jump up and go down and the depressurization, I thought it was very, very well done and it had a lot of attention to detail.
Yeah, no, it's an intense scene. To me, it's the best scene in the movie.
Hmm.
I think that is the height of the movie.
Wow. Okay.
And not to say that the rest of the movie's not good per se. There's just there's so much in that scene when they're in the jet, and like you said, with them being flipped to the ceiling and back down because they don't put their seatbelts on, and yeah, I mean, it's an intense scene, and all the build up to it too, with them making fun of her and then that happening, like yeah,
What's fun, not funny, but what's crazy is the attention to detail too as the plane hits the water. So she gets past like this first like fear, like she thinks the plane's still flying and she thinks there might be some kind of hope. And then the water, as they start to skim the water and hit the water as it's crashing. And then you get that second wave, and all of a sudden everything flips and everything's crazy and chaotic. And next thing you know, she's on the beach
yeah.
and that's where she like her Survivor audition tape starts kicking in and she starts going full, I gotta get this shit together, what am I gonna do, how am I gonna do it, and starts piecing stuff together before home slice washes up on the beach.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and she finds Bradley, Dylan O'Brien's character, washed up on the beach. He's got a big gash in his leg, and she is making shelter. She's figuring out how to get fresh water. She's mending his leg. He can't walk on, so he is stuck there for a while, not being able to walk or anything for uh X amount of time. And so he's very reliant, and almost like misery, you know.
Dude, I was literally just gonna say that. Perfect
Yeah,
timing.
yeah, it's very much like misery. He's just stranded there and just sitting there, not doing anything. He can't walk because his legs so messed up, and she's just bringing him
But
food, bringing him water, tending to him, and and he's being very ungrateful.
I mean, at the end of the day, he is the prisoner, essentially the way this breaks down,
Yeah.
and it's very similar to Misery, but at the same time, this is more of a karma
Mhm.
story, because of how he's treated her, and he does very evidently, as the story progresses, he does learn how he has wronged her, but it takes a lot of almost training, if you will, out of her. But yeah, so to JP's point, she is all of her survivor instincts are kicking in. She knows how to she digs a hole, puts coconut shells in them with the coconut or the palm leaves going down to it to catch water when it rains. She makes fire by hand. She is literally throwing down. She even at one point she goes out to hunt a boar.
Mhm.
And this boar sequence is spectacular too. The way she hunts the boar and the way it kills it, blood spraying everywhere. I was like, "Hell yeah, this is
Yeah.
great."
Yeah. Because she needs protein. So,
Oh, I didn't talk about this. So I mentioned it in my initial impression, but I'm gonna dig into it since we kind of went past it now. Now, in the office, when Linda goes in to meet Preston, behind Preston on his desk is a picture of his father on the
and I
desk.
missed this. I did. I missed this. I actually read about this later and missed it.
We rewound it because my wife actually looked it up and she told me. I was like, "Wait, go back." So, but none other than Bruce Campbell, because of Sam Raimi and his inseparable relationship through the years of them working together. Now, also to be noted is that Rachel McAdams is wearing a necklace in this, and the necklace also is very similar to the one that was worn in Evil Dead.
Mhm.
So it's very cool in that regard too. There's a lot of little hidden nods, hidden gems.
But no car.
Yeah, dude, I thought the same thing. That's hilarious. Yeah, Sam, but he's only
Or I
has he
didn't
done that?
notice one.
Yeah, I like, hmm. I'm
Mm.
wondering if now I wanna go back to the beginning of
Yeah.
that movie and look around in the city when they're excuse me, when she's parked, like, if she's in that car, maybe in the parking garage. I bet it's somewhere in there. It has
Yeah.
to be.
Or even at the golf course at the end or something.
Yeah, that's possible.
Yeah. But yeah, I've been sitting here kind of thinking about it and thinking, man, it's odd for him not to put the fucking old car in there because he usually does in all of his films. So there's a point where Bradley's character basically tries to go off on his own, like, hey, I can take care of myself. I don't need you. Blah 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 blah. He goes and tries to make his own little hut and is failing miserably. And she is just loving life on the beach and surviving like it's nothing. And he basically goes like a couple days before he goes back crawling on his knees, pretty much dying of thirst and hunger. And she's just egging it on, like, oh, you need my help now, you know.
But so before this moment, she has done a lot because he was immobile. So he limped over to do that camp thing and, but he was not doing well at that point. But at this point, though, she has done so much exploration on the island. She knows the island inside and out.
Mm-hmm.
And so she's hunted the boar. She's found this little like waterfall thing and this little area for fresh water, a new fresh water source, the whole bit. So when she sees him, and we don't know why at this point, when she sees him, she points at a specific rock on the island, and the rock has these weird two like sticks that come across, almost like a like there's it's almost like an X marks the spot. And she's like, "Don't go over to that area. If you go over to that area, because she knows he's starting to heal. She's like, if you go over that area, it's all thorns and poisonous stuff, and it's bad." And he basically tries to like convince him not to go there. And there's a reason. Um, good.
Oh, I was just gonna say, yeah, because she wanders over there and finds a mansion with a boat with people dropping supplies off to this mansion. This is a private island mansion for someone.
Yeah, and so and they have the people aren't even there, it's just people stocking the place for if they do go there. It has to be always ready in case they decide to pop up essentially. So she's been on this island for so long and she gets into this place. She's chugging the water, living the life, taking a shower, eating the food. She's doing everything and enjoying it. And then she's like, "Nah, I'm not telling him." I'm just gonna keep this to myself, that kind of deal. So she goes back and she's dealing with him and his little temper tantrums because she's trying to literally Stockholm syndrome this dude. She's trying to train him to be the good boy that she wants him to be because she would love to be with him. And it's funny because she goes from, you have your base character of this woman who's the victim, who's getting picked on, who's always being the bunt of the jokes, the whole bit. And she goes from that to being this leader who owns shit. There was even a point where he's not being very thankful and he's trying to boss her around and tell her what to do. And this is in the trailer, and this is one of the first things that pulled me in. She goes, "We're not in the office anymore, Bradley." It's
Yeah.
like, yeah, it's basically like saying, "I'm in charge now, motherfucker. You're worthless. So sit there and deal with this and do what I say." But she does that well before this whole moment, and so he's tried to separate in his own, tried to build his own camp. He at one point he eats this bug that was a crazy practical effect. It was
Yeah.
fake, like gelatinous thing. I found out. Tries to eat this bug, and you just see him making the snarly face, and it's oozing out of his mouth, the whole bit, and he's dying. Like, he cannot figure out how to build a fire. He can't collect rainwater, nothing. So all of a sudden, he's like, "I'm so sorry. I messed up." And he's like pleading with her and begging. And she's like, "It's okay as long as you learned your lesson." And she takes him back because she
Yeah.
knows what she's trying to do. She's building that.
And from here, he actually tries to learn as much as he can from her. All because he wants to be able to build a raft. Because
Yeah,
he
the whole
tells her,
time.
whole
Go
time
ahead.
he's saying, we need to build a raft. We got to get off this island. We can't stay here. So at this point, he stops and tries to learn as much as he can so he can figure out how to build this raft and how to do things for himself to try to get off this island.
Now, mind you, the fun part when he does, so she is taking him on these hikes at a certain point. We've gotten past the whole he's injured, he's healed now. So we're talking they've been there like 6 weeks, and most of that
Hmm.
time she has known about that mansion and had all that at her disposal. At the same time, she still has those survivor skills. So she's taking him on hikes now with her, but not going to the area she said not to stay away from for the obvious reasons. So they're up on this peak of this cliff, and they're coming around this little cliff corner, and there's these berries there, and she shows him how to find out what's poisonous. She takes the berry and smashes on her arm, rubs it in, and there's an instant reaction. She goes, "That means it's not okay to eat," and kind of teaches him a little bit in that moment where
Hmm.
he's learning, right? So flip the script later, the apology meal, he tries after he's been secretly kind of sneaking away, you don't know why, and says, "Let me make you dinner, let me make it up to you." And he tries to make a meal for her. Well, he puts these berries in the meal and she passes out. She just falls right over. And you just see him laughing on, "Ha ha, ha, like, I got you, fucker." And he starts moving this boat out of the woods that he's built, and he's taking it into the water. He's going out. He maybe makes it 30 yards out before this thing falls apart. And the funny part about this, she goes, "I didn't teach you everything. I didn't teach you how to tie a knot properly." I was like "Damn," because she's like, you would have used this kind of knot if you were really trying to build a raft, but you didn't because I didn't teach you everything." And she's like rubbing in his face more, and so it gets more, it's more vicious in those moments.
And yeah, and once he gets back, he's like, "I'm sorry. I just I did what I'm sorry. Please
Yeah.
help me." Yeah, he's crawling back to her, and she's like puking. She is deathly sick from this poison that he gave her. Well, she is it a drink that she gives him?
I don't remember his drink or food. I think you've had a fresher watch on this than I watched this a few
And
weeks ago now.
it's been a couple weeks ago now for me too, and because I didn't watch it this weekend.
But she's
And
very aware. Oh, it was the octopus stuff, right? Was it
yeah, it was the
octopus?
octopus stuff, but I didn't remember if she mixed it in a drink or what she mixed it in. But she mixed this into something, and basically
It's
it
a paralytic.
paralyzes. Yeah, it
Yeah.
paralyzes him. And this is like the big intense scene. This is she tells him, "I'm going to cut your nuts off. I'm going to make you obedient to me. And this is what we do to dogs. We cut their nuts off. And so I'm going to do this to you." And so he's sitting there paralyzed, can't
Well,
move. And he
Give
can't
the
do.
details here. Hold on, give the details here. It's horrific because he can't feel anything. He can only have his eyes, so he can't talk, nothing. He's just sitting there, like, freaking out, and he's paralyzed, so he can't even move his head to look down to see what she's doing, and so when she says she's gonna neuter him, you just hear this she's looking at him while cutting with the knife, and there's blood going everywhere, and you're like, "Oh,
Yeah,
no." And she pulls a rat up because she's cutting a rat.
yeah,
I was dead. I was like, "Oh my god." And that was one of those weird moments too where the wife looks over at you from the couch and you feel very uncomfortable in that moment 'cause you're like, "I won't fuck up, I promise. We're
yeah,
good."
and from there, she literally says, "If you pull something like this again, I will cut them off." And yeah, it's an intense scene, and he plays super nice after this. And until she is out on a little adventure and a boat pulls up and it has Bradley's fiance and um a guide that's took her out to look for them on this boat show up to the island, and Linda takes them the long way home up onto the cliff and ends up pushing them off of the cliff and killing them.
Zuri was the fiance's name,
Yeah.
sorry, it was bothering me. Yeah, she takes them around that cliff edge on purpose,
Mhm.
and, she actually, like, shoves the girl holds Zuri holds onto the cliff, and the guy tries to, grab her, and you don't see what happens at this point. At this point, you just have to assume because all of a sudden she comes back, she's not acting right, she doesn't wanna eat, she's almost depressed because
Yeah.
she's never hurt anyone directly before, and this time she really went that far. Um,
She has a lot of
and
guilt, and you can tell.
yeah, and so this is kinda where I'm talking about where you don't really know who you're rooting for, protagonist, antagonist, you don't know who the good guy, who the bad guy is. This woman has just been pushed too far, and
Mhm.
that's where we're at. So, and now she's like she has her eyes on the prize. She's like, "I'm gonna make this guy mine, and I'm gonna run this company with him, and that'll be that." That's kinda where she's
Mhm.
thinking is at least the way I got it. And so she is torn up, miserable, depressed, the whole bit, and so Home Slice, he decides he's gonna go hunt a boar. He's gonna get a boar and he finds one and it's on the beach and he steps on a twig and they focused on the twig stepping when Rachel McAdams' character Linda was hunting the first one. He steps on the twig and he's like, "Oh shit," because these are like
Yeah.
legit large ass boars that'll take you down. And so he steps on the twig and this thing runs and it runs away. It doesn't go at him. And as he looks down at what he's been messing with, it's the hand and the engagement ring he gave Zuri in
Mhm.
the sand, just sticking up out of the sand, nothing else. So he brings the ring back and he confronts her about it. And that's where they kind of this is where things spiral and turn into
Yeah.
fucking Mr. and Mrs.
The
Smith, if you will.
yeah, yeah. This is where this movie takes a turn, and they beat the hell out of each other, stab each other, rip each other to shreds over this. And it's a this is basically the final fight, but this fight lasts a while because they fight in the woods. Well, he gets away. They fight again in the mansion because he finds the mansion. But yeah, they literally beat the hell out of each other, and he's stabbed. He's like basically what I would assume is mortally wounded. He's probably going to bleed out at some point.
Yeah, she by the way, she had a knife the whole time. That's one thing we didn't talk about.
Hmm.
So she said it washed up on the beach, but in reality, she got it from that mansion that she found,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
she had it with her. But so they were fighting over this knife, and she gets a hold of the knife, and she literally one good jab into the side of him, and
Hmm.
he's not doing great. He's bleeding out.
And he gouges her one of her eyes. Oh, that was
Starts to dude, that was so intense.
yeah,
He had his thumb under her eyelid into the eyeball, and you see it moving. Like I thought he was gonna pop her eyeball out, and he doesn't.
yeah,
And then they go
yeah,
back, and they had it all doctored up, like so her eye was all red, but it was still there. And I'm like,
yeah,
oh,
yeah. It's an intense fight scene. I mean, they really hurt each other.
It's like I was gonna talk about this and say this too, the comparison, the Misery movie. It's like
Mhm.
Misery on an island on steroids.
Yeah. So after this fight, though, he gets away and he goes to the other side of the island that she has told him not to go to. And he finds a mansion there. And that's when he realizes he goes in and he sees there's all this food, there's all this water, he sees where the knives are gone. And
Literally saying, "What the fuck?"
yeah. And he's seeing all this. Well, she's ends up there's speakers there and she's talking to him from a security room through the speaker system in the house, watching him move from room to room. And yeah, this is a different type of intense, versus the intense you just had with this big brutal fight in the jungle. Now it's a different intensity of like, what the fuck in
Now
this
it's like
house?
modern day prisoner in a
Yeah,
house with the security system versus the island in itself. So yeah, there's different elements happening all across the board.
yeah. So she ends up coming out though, and she comes out to with a gun, and he starts like basically like, "But I'm in love with you." He pulls this whole card of I'm in love with you, and I understand, and I want to be with you, and yeah, and he's playing the he's playing that card like he's finally fallen for her.
Yeah, and he's playing it well too because at first she's actually buying into it. She goes, "See, that's all I wanted. That's all I want." And she's like really getting into it. And I forgot when he said something that set her off because he did it too quick. Oh, he just said that I love you.
Yeah,
I think when he said that,
she looks up and she sees there's like this um it's like a is it a stuffed animal? Not like or like a not stuffed animal, but something with a horn there, and one of the horns, or it's a statue or something, and one of the horns is gone, and she notices it, and
"Oh yeah, yeah, that
he's got
another
it
Satan
behind her.
element."
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's got it behind his back, and he goes to attack her again. So
but she's very aware.
yeah, so the twist of this is because you don't know who is the protagonist, who is the antagonist, and I'm gonna be honest with you, I still don't know. They're both kind of horrible people at the end of this by the end of this movie.
I see. I disagree. Well, yes, by the end of the movie, and I think she's lost it a little bit for sure. But by the end of this movie, I feel like you've got a karma scenario, and you've got a woman who was just pushed too far, and this is what happens when you push people too far. So now her infatuation aspect, that's a little creepier, a little different in my opinion, but the extent of what she's willing to go for to redeem anything she has left of a life and make this guy understand what he's done to her. I think that says a lot. I still lean towards her with this movie because of that. I feel like this is revenge in its fullest and purest form almost. But at the same time, I do feel some semblance of sad for this dude because the only thing this dude knew is being a pampered asshole. He's
Mm-hmm.
been raised that way. It's what he became. And yes, it's not right, but at the same time, neither is him needing to die for that.
Yeah,
So it's
and that's where I'm at. Like, did he deserve to die? You
yeah.
know, did his fiance and this innocent uh god deserve to die? So it she turns. You look at it like that, she turns into a horrible person, even though he's a horrible person. But you know, so yeah, did he deserve to die? But no. But she knew she had to kill him, or he had to kill her because she'd already went too far, and she knew it. So the ending of this film, though, it ends with her on a golf course, and
Doing a charity golf outing as her new oh no, she didn't even take over his company, anything like that. It's just
no,
she's
she sold the movie rights and stuff to her
and she wrote a
story.
book. Yeah,
Yeah,
she wrote the book and then sold the movie rights to that, but So she's doing okay, and in the end, she's essentially driving away, and I talked about her bird and her loneliness in her
Mhm.
apartment, and she's driving away in a convertible, on the coastline in California with this bird in her fucking passenger seat.
Yeah.
And the cool thing, so I guess originally the audition tape for Survivor wasn't supposed to be a big part of the movie. It was supposed to be the end credits, and
Mhm.
so they were gonna show the whole thing in the end credits, and they ended up not doing that. They changed it to give it more depth, and I think that works. I kind of agreed with that. Um
It would have been fun to see the whole thing, I
Oh, yeah,
guess,
for
in
sure.
the credits still, but it makes sense to use it how they used it.
And then, and I guess this movie was, purchased by Columbia in 2019. They wanted it to go straight to streaming though, but Raimi fought it and he won, and that was because of COVID times. Essentially, he's like, I need this to be a theater movie, and he fought for it and he won, and I'm glad he did because I don't really applaud any of the movies that go straight to streaming.
Yeah.
I don't mind having the option to watch them, but I don't want us to lose those theaters.
Yeah. Well, I think he ended up having to shop it to a different studio to get that theatrical release. So,
Um, a couple other quick things. So, Danny Elfman is the person who did the score on this, so that's pretty cool. I always love that. Him and Raimi work really well together. And one of the songs that they use in the movie is called "Rip Her to Shreds," and it's a song from the movie Mean Girls, which she was in. So that was
mm.
kind of fun.
Yeah, and Danny Elfman and him and Sam Raimi have worked on a lot of films
A
together. You
lot,
know,
yeah.
a lot of people always associate Danny Elfman with um, Tim
Nightmare.
Burton, but
Yeah.
you know, him and Raimi have probably done just almost as many films together.
It's insane the amount of people that don't realize how much Danny Elfman has contributed to not just the music industry, but the movie industry with the
Yeah,
scores. Like, he is on so many scores, it's unbelievable.
yeah. So budget, box office.
Yep. What do you think the budget was for this bad boy?
I'm just gonna say 10 million. I'm sure it's more, but we're gonna say 10 million.
It's more. Wanna give one more guess?
Let's go 25.
Alright, it's more. We're at 40 mil for this one.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, that one
See,
that
I figured, but this is one location for the most part.
it
The
could go
bulk of
either way.
it could have went either way. So
I do think you had some decent actors in this, though, even on it had the Allstate guy. In
yeah,
the beginning. So he usually has a larger role, but then Rachel McAdams and Dylan O'Brien, and then location. I think location was a lot of the issue, the plane stuff, that whole sequence. I can see some of this totaling out to be far more than what I originally thought. So we've got two different amounts. I don't know if you want to do US or you want to do gross worldwide. What do you want to go
I'll just
for?
do worldwide, and
All right.
65 mil.
And you're short on that too.
Hmm.
95. 95
Okay.
mil.
All right.
So it doubled its budget. I don't, I don't see any room for sequels in this world. So
Mm-mm.
I hope they just let this movie be what it is. I think that'll be spectacular
Yeah.
as it is.
I don't think there's a point for a sequel.
I don't either, but I could see the way Hollywood works. They just try and squeeze every dollar out of everything. So
All right. Ratings. So your film. I'll go. Um, I don't know. This film. It's good to see Sam Raimi coming back into directing a horror film again. And he don't direct a lot anymore. He mainly produces. Um, this film is very comparable. I think you hit the nail on the head when you said I said Misery, and then you said it was kind of like Stranded on a Deserted Island, but Misery, and that's kind of what it is. And it's it's fun that way. It's pretty horrific, but it's very Stockholm syndrome and uh, with the elements of misery. With her having control of this guy on this island. For him to be able to survive, he has to count on her. Um, the practical effects are great, but there are some CGI in this that some of it was just like, I wish you'd have done this practical, But Sam Raimi's bad for that anymore. You know, even with his last horror film, uh, what was the name of it? 2009. We talked about at the beginning of this film.
Oh,
Drag Me
yeah,
to
Drag Me
Hell.
to Hell.
He did horrible CGI in that one too. Like he's gotten bad about, well, let's just use CGI instead of practical effects. And he does that a little bit in this film too. And when he does it, I'm just like, man, I get it, but whatever. But the practical effects would have been cooler. But it's a fun movie, and yeah, I think most people, if you're into the horror genre, you're probably going to really enjoy this film. It's not going to knock it out of the park. It's nothing original. Like I said, we've compared it to Misery on a lot of levels, you know. So there's not really anything super original in this film, but it is still fun. It's definitely not going to be movie of the year for me, but I'm going to throw it out here at 3.6 nerds.
Okay, I'll take that. That's a good rating. I was while you were going through your rating, I actually looked it up, and it doesn't specify where, but it does say yes that Raimi's car is indeed in this movie, the '73 Oldsmobile Delta '88. It says appears in the movie, and it just says in a scary scene in the movie. I don't know
Hmm.
what that means, but okay. And that's through Reddit and multiple other sources. So that's interesting. Um, I think for me, this one really was a breath of fresh air for especially for 2026. I was so sick of rinse and repeat. I mean, we're getting so much stuff where it's the first hour just drags and there's nothing happening in that first hour that's worthwhile. This movie had about 20 minutes of kind of filler ramp up and then we get to the airplane right off the rip. And so it starts out nicely. The character development is awesome. It's a little blurred as far as where we figure out if we have a protagonist antagonist,
Hmm.
but as we discussed, but I appreciated that too. I like movies that keep me guessing. Like I don't know who I want to root for in these cases. As that guy got better, and I thought maybe he was learning his lesson. I was like, maybe he's the victim here. Maybe we need to worry about him. And I couldn't tell, and I appreciated that. I liked all the way through the end of this movie. I liked the end result of the movie, the fact that the person who was kind of being abused and bullied came out on top, and it just had a great vibe to it. The gore was good, practical effects were good, location set was good. It made me want to go live on an island alone. So I'm gonna go 3.8 nerds from me. So we're in the same ballpark.
A little higher, but yeah, same ballpark.
Oh, deserved a little bit higher.
You got any film recommendations?
Oh boy, what you can go first. I got to think for a second. I had the other two ready, but I didn't do this one.
Yeah, I had my other two ready for what we were filming tonight, and I didn't have another one ready. You know what? I'm just going to go off one I just bought and has nothing to do with this film or any genre of this film that we just reviewed. But I bought this on sale. Again, another sale that I had um, bought for $5, and I know they just redid a Blu-ray of this, maybe a 4K of this pretty recently too. I think it was they did do a 4K of it. But the film, The Guyver, which was,
The Mark Hamill Guyver?
yes, the Mark Hamill Guyver movie. I got this for $5 on Fandango the other day, and I am super psyched about
It's a good.
revisiting this one.
I love
And
that.
and I have revisited this one in, fairly recent years, or maybe last year or something. I've watched it, but um, it's not one that I've watched a ton of, and but it is a cheesy one. It is uh anime driven live action, but stars Mark Hamill, like over the top gore and ridiculousness. Like this is what I remember about this film, and it's a JP film.
All right. Well, that's cool. Um, I'm gonna go with kind of an oldie but a goodie here. I don't know why I love this movie. This is one of those movies you can put on and watch start to finish. The cast is spectacular. This is one of those movies I did not think the first time I watched it that I would love it so much, but uh, A Knight's Tale. I haven't watched it in years, and I watched it recently, and I just forgot how much I genuinely appreciated the hell out of that movie. It just got a like I said, great cast. You got Brian Hedgeland, Heath Ledger, Mark Addy, Shannon Salmon. I think I'm saying that right. So Salmon, she is one of the most gorgeous women I think to ever grace the screen. Paul Bettany. I mean, it's just nonstop. It's so good.
I haven't watched that one in a long time. It's one I need to revisit.
Yeah, it's a solid flick. I don't know why. It's one of those ones I can put on and always have in the background, or I can be going about my day and I just appreciate it. It's a fun film.
You got anything else?
No, sir.
You know what? I do. And
Oh,
I actually brought this out before we started tonight, and I haven't done it. I haven't brought it up, and I wanted to show you guys this. Okay. So, I picked this up actually a couple weeks ago now. But from my one of my favorite toy stores, I'm going to do a little plug for them. So, Hero Clash Collectibles, one of my favorite toy stores in the country. So he gets, obviously, I buy a lot of my toys from him, and he gets a lot of these horror film and movie vinyls. So I picked up the Thing vinyl,
nice.
and this is such a beautiful vinyl. And it does have a poster in it and whatnot. But if you're watching this on YouTube, I wanted to show you guys this. Like, this is a
Wow.
gorgeous, gorgeous vinyl of the Thing.
I don't think the video does it justice. Like it looks like
Yeah,
it's like got like a glitter mixed in with the blue and it pops.
yeah.
It's
It looks like
translucent.
it looks like ice and it's translucent. Like
Nice.
it's yeah, and I've gotten some of the Friday the 13th ones, from him, and I've gotten a couple of these from him. I buy a lot of toys from him, but I've started buying every now and then some of these vinyls. And when I saw this one, he had this one and he had like the double vinyl for Phantasm, which I really wanted, but I ended up buying the one for the Thing this time. But yeah, he gets a
This
lot of these. He gets a lot of these horror vinyls and a lot of the Friday 13th, and he had a Chud one there. Like there's all kinds of random ones he usually gets in.
Chud,
Yeah.
cannibalistic humanoid underground dweller. It's
Yes.
amazing. I didn't remember that. Sorry.
So, but if you're ever in North Carolina in that area, you can look up Hero Clash. He does usually a convention once or twice a year. He has his own um, professional wrestling organization that he does there in that region. He has a lot of big name wrestlers that actually come in and wrestle for him here and there. Uh, and you can look him up on Facebook. He has a Facebook, Hero Clash Collectibles on Facebook, so you can check him out.
It's my understanding that Hero Clash Collectibles Con might have some amazing podcasters at some point in the future.
Yeah, I'm waiting on him to do an announcement on when his next convention is. It's usually around August, September. But I talked to him a little bit about it the other day, and he said that he hasn't actually got it scheduled yet. So I don't know when he's scheduling this for this year. So, but usually it's in the fall, closer to the fall.
That could be fun. That's all I'm saying.
All right. Well, CineNerdsPodcast.com. Go
Dot
there,
com.
share it with your friends. Click like, follow, subscribe, share this video, share this audio. Yeah.
Sharing is caring, and
All
that's
right.
half the battle.
All right. Till next week, guys.
Later.
Later.